And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Hi there, I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska Marine Weather Outlook on this Saturday, June 28th, 2025. We start with the state of the sea ice. Water really opening up across the lower Chukchi Sea. We still have some shore-fast and remnant ice outside there, Kotzebue Sound up along off of Kivalina, Point Hope, and then some opening there off of Point Lay. Also seeing some opening along the Beaufort Sea coast, especially out east of Kaktovik toward the Mackenzie River. And we're all still in the early summer season, and the melt-off of that ice will continue as we progress a little further into summer. And conditions are such, there may be some little milder temperatures up there along the Arctic coast as we go through the upcoming week, especially by midweek. In the meantime, though, we're still watching area of low pressure, a little trough. This little wave's going to pull back to the west tonight into Sunday, and that's going to enhance some of the rain potential over the Copper River Basin, the Chugach Mountains. Kind of a steadier rain across much of the Panhandle, breezier conditions this Saturday. It may let up a little bit Sunday still, though, lingering showers on Sunday, and then yet another low is going to come up from the North Pacific and bring another round of rain as we get into Sunday night and especially Monday. Back to the west, we have low pressure out over the western Bering. Breezy frontal system. This does have small craft and gale conditions with that front, and as it moves on into the southwest coast, it's going to bring some moderate rainfall Sunday night through Monday and into Tuesday, because this system is going to then just kind of stall out as a trough along the west-southwest coast by the time we get into Monday and Tuesday. So for Sunday afternoon, here comes this next little low impulse that's going to ride northward. So still some lingering showers and areas of rain over the Panhandle, northern Gulf Coast, long and south of the Alaska Range. And then for Monday afternoon, we have low pressure sitting there just outside of the outer coast there of the Panhandle in the southeastern Gulf, with another little front trying to lift northward that's going to bring some additional showers there for Monday. And then here along the southwest coast, especially the YK Deltas, Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, you have some breezy conditions along with some moderate rainfall. Some areas could pick up on the order of a half an inch of rain with that, with additional rainfall possible into Tuesday. So on Sunday, we're looking for southeast winds 15 knots for the inner channels, waves 2-3 feet, maybe as high as 4 feet down here at Dixon Entrance. South of Sitka, south winds to 15 knots. Those become southeast 15 to 20 knots, especially off of Sitka, Cross Sound to outside of Yakutat Bay, wave 5-6 feet there for the nearshore waters of the Gulf. And then Monday, north winds 15 knots, Lynn Canal 2-3 foot waves, northeast winds 10 knots within Stevens Passage, 2-3 foot waves, and then southeast winds 15 knots, 2-3 foot waves, Ketchikan, Metlakatla there, Dixon Entrance. And with that low circulation right here out over the southeast Gulf, we have southeast winds kind of parallel to the Prince of Wales Island coastline, easterly winds there at Port Alexandra, 15 knots on Monday, and then northeast winds from Sitka up to outside of Cross Sound at 15 knots, and then mixed bag up to 10 knots there outside of Yakutat Bay. We're going to see variable winds across much of the northern northwestern Gulf for Sunday, around 10 knots within Prince William Sound, waves only a couple of feet. Outside of Hinchinbrook Entrance, 2-3 foot waves, as well as down along the Kenai coast. Winds will become more southerly through lower Middle Cook Inlet, 15 knots, 2-3 foot waves, and then southwesterly Upper Cook Inlet with 2 to 3 foot waves. And again, a continuation Monday of rather light variable winds around 10 knots. Prince William Sound outside of Hinchinbrook Entrance and along the Kenai coast into Lower Cook Inlet, waves generally running a foot or two within Prince William Sound and a couple 3 feet there for other areas. And then generally south winds out once you get off of Anchor Point up to Upper Cook Inlet. South winds to 10 knots, waves 2, maybe 3 feet. Now for Kodiak Island, variable winds east side 10 knots, southwest winds of 20 knots within Shelikof Strait on Sunday. And then generally northwest winds on the North Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula, 15 to 20 knots, 2 to 3 foot waves, and westerly winds 15 to 20 knots up into Bristol Bay, waves 3 to 4 feet there. And for Monday, variable winds around 10 knots in the vicinity of Kodiak Island, waves 2-3 feet tops. Winds are going to be southwesterly around 20 knots along the North Pacific side of the peninsula, and then southeast to south at 20 knots on the Bering side, with waves running 5 to as high as 7 feet north of Cold Bay. The Aleutians, some stronger winds and higher waves will be north of the Aleutians, but winds on Sunday should generally be west becoming southwest to south at 20 to 25 knots, especially once you get west of Nikolsky, increasing to southerly winds to 30 knots west of Adak through Kiska and Shemya. And then on Monday, as that low pressure is up at the top of the screen here under the banner, we're looking at generally southwesterly winds 25 to 30 knots over the eastern Aleutians, and then southwest to west 20 to 25 knots from around Adak through Kiska and Shemya. So for Sunday, with that front nudging on toward St. Matthew and the Pribilovs, winds are going to be south-southwest there to 30 knots. Look for west winds 15 knots within Kuskokwim Bay, west winds at 20 knots within Bristol Bay, and along the lower Yukon coast, westerly winds 15 knots, more southwesterly 10 knots there, Norton Sound. And there'll be some higher waves once you get near and west of the Pribilovs and St. Matthew to 10 feet. By Monday, with a low pressure center here, just north of St. Matthew, and the front coming in here along the southwest coast, we are expecting south-southwest winds 25 to 30 knots, Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Bay, back toward St. Paul and St. George. Waves 5-6 feet there within Kuskokwim, Bristol Bays, as high as 10-11 feet out toward the Pribilovs. And then in the circulation ahead of the front, southeast winds to 20-25 knots from Norton Sound down along the lower Yukon coastline, with waves 4 to 5 feet. On Sunday, winds will generally be south-southwest through the Bering Strait and along the west side of the Seward Peninsula to the north side of St. Lawrence Island. So 20-knot south-southwest winds, waves 4 to 7 feet. As we come up through the Chukchi Sea, winds could be as high as 25 knots off of Cape Lisburne from the south, and then kind of a mixed bag, variable winds, especially once you round out from Wainwright to Utqiagvik to Kaktovik. Variable winds around 5 knots. And then on Monday, winds will try to come back around more to the east, Prudhoe Bay to Utqiagvik and Wainwright at 10 knots. Coming down through the Chukchi Sea, kind of an east-southeast wind out of Kotzebue Sound at 15 knots, where there's open water, waves running maybe 4 feet. And then along the west side of the Seward Peninsula from Wales down to Nome, we're looking at east-southeast winds at 20 knots. And then once we get over toward the north side of St. Lawrence Island on Monday, expect southeasterly winds to 25 knots with waves running as high as 4 to 7 feet.